Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Brandon from the Young Zings, and welcome to Market Watch, a little mini-series that I do where I talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh market in depth. And this time we're going to talk about more about overarching changes and changes that are going to be more over a longer period of time instead of talking about individual price fluctuations. But we're going to talk about those a little bit too as well. Mainly, we're just talking about recent announcements that are happening for the TCG in terms of summer sets and early fall sets that are pretty relevant. And we have two that were announced that were pretty good. The first one is the Rise of the True Dragon Structure Deck, which is shown right here. And I got pictures of it right here from the game convention. It's slated for July 15th release. And this is relevant for two reasons. The first of all is that it's actually a relatively good structure deck, and there are going to be a lot of cards that are going to change in price because of it. So as we get closer to July 15th, it's going to be probably important to pick up certain cards. But also, we have no mention of the Pendulum Domination structure deck, the DDD one. No one knows what happened to it. It just kind of like disappeared off the face of the earth. The fact that we got a specific date announced for this structure deck and not for the other one leads me to believe that that the Pendulum Domination was pushed back or it was canceled, and this one just like kind of got ahead of it. So that's kind of unfortunate. We'll have to wait and see what they do with it. But I would assume that right now I would just assume that Pendulum Domination has been pushed back or canceled. The other announcement is the Dragons of Legend Unleashed, which is the OG equivalent of Duels of Radiance, shown in this right here. We saw some of these cards over the weekend in the next V-Jump. Like, it's cards like the Tripping Mercury or number 100 Numeron Dragon. But the OG version of that set is only 45 cards. And that's a little bit small for TCG and Arsenal sets. And TCG typically puts in a few extra cards for the TCG version. So I'd imagine that since Dragons of Legend sets are usually 60 to 70 cards, they're going to be 15 to 25 TCG exclusive reprints. And we already can see some that they're going with that route, because if you zoom in, you can see that there are a few cards on the box that are confirmed for TCG reprints. Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, Lord of Red are both on the box, and that means they're in the set. That's how it works. If it's on the box, it's in the set. That's pretty big. Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight is an expensive card because it was short printed in the very first Dragons of Legend, and that's why it's already fell to $40 at the making of this video. And also in another picture, when they show off the Dark Illusion, you can see the Dragons of Legend Unleashed box just a little bit right here, and you see my man's Curry Bandit right here. That means he's in there as well. So he's getting reprinted in Dragons of Legend Unleashed as well. But if he wasn't going to be reprinted here, he's definitely going to be reprinted in the Pendulum Domination structure deck, should that ever come, because that was in the OG set. And as we know, they've been following the OG version card for card. Speaking of following the OG version card for card, going back to the Felgrand Dragon structure deck, this structure deck is very relevant because the deck's kind of good. It's not like as good as the Monarch one or not as influential, but it's still pretty solid. And the cards that are going to adjust as a result of this deck coming out in July are going to be rank 8s and rank 8s. Mainly the following cards. Number 38 Titanic Galaxy. I don't know if that's the correct number, but the Titanic Galaxy Premium Gold 3. I know he's expensive right now, but what's going to happen, he's going to dip slowly as we move through March and into April, and then he's going to rise slowly as we get closer to Shining Victories, because he's important in the Blue Eyes deck, because he's good and they can make rank 8s, and he's a really good rank 8. But he's going to keep rising as soon as we get closer to the Felgrand Dragon structure deck, because this deck just wants to make rank 8s. Also, other rank 8s that are probably going to see a good rise in price, a more dramatic rise in price, are the Galaxy Eyes Xyz monsters. Mainly Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, the higher rarity versions, Ulti and Ghost. The other ones are going to rise as well, the Ultras, because it's still it's not like that easy of a card to get. Then Galaxy has Full Armor Photon Dragon from the super rare from Cross Souls. That card is already seen it's like $5 right now, and it was only like $3 before the announcement of this set. And that's just that's a considerable increase. And then the last card, probably the most important, is number 97, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. I'm not sure that's the right number as well, but that's the one. That's like the combo in that deck. Like, you put on Tachyon, you put it on Photon, you put it on Dark Matter, because you use Photon to kill a card, and then you put on Dark Matter to mill a bunch of dragons. It's really, really solid, and all of those cards are going to start creeping up as we get closer to this set, and then they'll jump rapidly after there. It's the same thing that happened with the Monarchs here in TCG. Other cards that were used in conjunction with that deck would rise slowly as we get closer to the deck, but in the week before the release and the week after, they jumped in price exponentially. So you have some time to pick up rank 8. So there's also like cards like Divine Dragonite Felgrand, which I mean is good in a deck revolving around a card called Felgrand. But those are going to be like a bunch of the rank 8s are going to see pretty good rise in price. So if you see Dark Matter or Tachyon or Full Armor at your locals, try to pick them up. Start accumulating your rank 8s. Speaking of the Dragon deck, Melody of Awakening Dragon has already seen a considerable rise in price, but it's only going to keep going up because of the Blue Eyes deck coming out in May in the Shining Victories, but even then it's going to keep rising after that as we get closer to the Felgrand Dragon structure deck, because a lot of those cards in the Blue Eyes deck and in the Felgrand deck are used in conjunction with each other. They kind of like merge to make some sort of super Blue Eyes deck, super Felgrand Blue Eyes deck, and this card's important in those decks. This card is stupid good in those decks. Watch out for that. Also, possibly Hollow Dragon Ravine could also see a rise in price, because that is the highest rarity of Dragon Ravine, and that you need 3 of those for that deck. It's stupid good. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it's at 2 in TCG still. I should probably check that. I'm too lazy. I should probably check that. But hey, I mean, if it's at 2 now, hypothetically, I didn't know that. If it's at 2 right now, hypothetically, it's probably going to move to 3 as we get closer to the Felgrand Dragon structure deck. That's kind of all I want to talk about today. The OG starter deck, as I mentioned in the last market watch, were like, oh guys, be scared, like, who knows, this structure deck might end your dreams. The Japanese one in particular, the one it might end your dreams. There wasn't anything crazy reprinted for this deck. It's a pretty tame starter deck overall, except for one reprint, Arching Eccentric. Arching Eccentric being in here is pretty solid. It's probably going to find its way into the TCG version as well. It was already reprinted in the premium gold, but it's probably going to be pretty cheap for that copy as well. Like, it's probably going to be like $5 for that copy once it bottoms out. But it's going to be like dirt cheap now after that. The Secret Rare is going to hold its price probably about 15, because it's still a really good card, and it's the highest rarity, and it's still like relatively hard to get. So 15-20 for that one. So like, if you have Secrets, like, don't worry about it. Just keep them, like, especially if you're going to use it. If you have Golds, like, get rid of it, because as we get closer to May, because of the common one being coming out. As Connor will talk about today, look out for the collector's pack Duels of Radiance. Those are all going to, if there's, think about it this way: if there's a card that is announced for Collector's Pack Duels of Radiance, it is in Dragons of Legend Unleashed, and it is coming in August. That's just the way it is. But also just be wary for Dragons of Legend cards being reprinted in that set. Nothing like too big, except for like Tomias has yet to be announced. Maybe some of the other fusion the fusion dragons from Dragons of Legend 2, like Mirror Force Dragon, and like some of the other like bad ones, like all those cards are absolutely terrible. But like, they're like Mirror Force Dragon's like $20 because you short printed for some reason. Just like, be worried that a lot of those, this might be like the all-star Dragons of Legend deck, judging from the cover here, because they got Dragons of Legend 1, 2, and 3 right here. I wouldn't be surprised if Tomias found its way in there. It's really, really expensive. I don't really think it's worth holding on to, except like as we get closer to the Dark Illusion, it might be a good idea to hold on to them, because it's good in the Dark Magician deck. But it's like, if it gets announced reprint in here, it's gonna like tank, because people want, even if it's like, not that easy to pull, people are just like lose their minds, like, it's gonna reprint, you get rid of all your copies. But that's kind of the way it is here. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next time.